And welcome in to the Saturday Financial Report from Merriman Market Analyst and Fun Astrology, reading the MMAcycles.com financial newsletter for the week beginning September 4th. Hi, I'm Thomas Miller. Thank you so much for joining us. You know how they say today, spoiler alert? Well, there's a spoiler alert. You want to wait for it. It's the other expression. The end of this newsletter has some very good financial astrology. Just saying. This is for the week of September 4th, but of course the market is on holiday on Monday in the United States. Let's get started with an article from the Wall Street Journal on Friday. Hiring cooled this summer and unemployment rose in August. Signs that the labor market is moderating in face of higher interest rates. U.S. employers added 187,000 jobs last month, while payrolls in June and July were revised down a combined 110,000. The monthly gain in August was well less than the average pace over the prior year and far below the roughly 400,000 average monthly gain in 2022. The unemployment rate was 3.8% last month, up from 3.5% in July. Now, Ray Merriman, the Dean of Financial Astrology, begins his commentary for this week. Imagine the planets as ships at sea. Imagine their movement through the heavens as seen from Earth as waves on the sea from the geocentric position. There are 8 planets in our solar system as seen from Earth, not counting the Earth. At various times, each planet will appear to be going backwards through the heavens, which is known as its retrograde cycle. 6 of the planets go retrograde at least once during the year. Venus and Mars will do so once every 19 to 26 months, respectively, while Mercury goes retrograde every 88 days, or 3 to 4 times per year. It's not uncommon to see 1 to 3 planets retrograde at one time. 4 is not too unusual. 5 or more is considered a lot. But between August 28th through September 3rd, 6 planets will be retrograde. On September 3rd, Venus turns direct, dropping it back to 5. However, the next day, September 4th, Jupiter turns retrograde, making it 6 planets retrograde once again until September 15th, when Mercury turns direct. Now think of retrograde planets as increasing the size, rhythm, and direction of those waves. This becomes especially turbulent when several planets change direction in a short span of time. It's like different waves coming from new directions with varying intensity very quickly. The result is choppiness. Sometimes the ship is lifted very high. Other times it falls precipitously downward. The ship must constantly adjust its course to avoid being overwhelmed by the changing size and direction of the waves. Now, imagine that financial markets are like those ships at sea. When so many planets are retrograde, markets become very choppy, and traders have to constantly adjust their outlooks on new waves coming at them, like information, data, changes of policy, in order to stay afloat. This is the imagery of the financial markets in the past week and probably until September 15th, when so many planets are retrograde and changing directions. You can navigate, i.e. trade, but you need to be constantly alert to sudden changes in the waves that can affect the stability of your position. It's one reason why we don't advise initiating new position trades unless you're able to be extremely attentive and stand the turbulence. The imagery of a ship being tossed back and forth in turbulent waters was most noticeable in Bitcoin last week. It made what appeared to be a primary cycle trough at 25,350 on August 23rd, when Mercury, the trickster, turned retrograde. Last week, it soared to a high of 28,142 on August 28th as Uranus turned retrograde, its highest price in 12 days. But by Friday, September 1st, it fell to 25,269, a new 11-week low, and slightly below the low of August 23rd. Then, it abruptly reversed again. This is classic trickster performance in front of its higher and even more volatile octave Uranus, which was also turning retrograde. A sharp rally and apparent reversal, followed by a sudden fake-out and a turn-down. The turbulence in Bitcoin may not be over yet, but the fact that it is giving bullish triggers, even if fake-outs, this late in its primary cycle, could be a positive sign. We'll discuss further in this week's weekly subscription reports with our outlook and strategies for the week. There are 3 links to reports in the newsletter if you click on MMAcycles.com at the top. Now, with the global stock markets, the turbulence was more of a strong updraft wave, lifting all markets upwards from their lows of August 28th through the 25th, which fits the reversal nature of all of these powerful geocosmic signatures in effect then and even through September 8th. We expected a primary cycle bottom at that time and/or a secondary low 4 to 9 days later, and we got both right into our August 25th to 28th 3-star CRD, critical reversal date. The outlook on stock markets is clearer now, especially as Mars has also entered Libra. That transit is from August 27th through October 11th. And again, these are covered in this weekend's subscription reports, link in the newsletter. Gold and silver also enjoyed nice rallies last week, but whether they are at the start of a new primary cycle or just a healthy correction in a bearish primary cycle is still debatable. Crude oil, on the other hand, appears to be resuming its bullish trend, as discussed in the August 20th webinar for Chinese traders, which also covered their stock and currency markets, plus Bitcoin, U.S. stocks, and precious metals. Now the short-term geocosmics and longer-term thoughts. A quote from Peggy Noonan in the Wall Street Journal. Tolstoy's Napoleon is a puffed-up poser, not so much confident and bold as, quote, intoxicated by the crimes he has committed so successfully. Only what took place within his own mind interested him. Nothing outside himself had any significance for him, because everything in the world, it seemed to him, depended entirely on his will. End quote. When you allow a past work of art to enter your mind and imagination, Noonan says, you are embarked on a kind of reclamation project, a rescue mission. As you read, Tolstoy himself is still alive. He isn't gone. His mind is still producing. He still continues in human consciousness. And here's another quote from Friday's Wall Street Journal. Former Wyoming GOP Senator Alan Simpson used to call Republicans the stupid party. But Senator Simpson wasn't done. Democrats, he said, were the evil party. Which would you rather be right now, the stupid party or the evil party? My money says the evil party will find a way out of the Biden-Trump dilemma. Put it this way, the party that nominates someone other than these two will win the decisive votes of independents, and thus the election. Once Democrats conclude the Republican Party has arrived at a point of no return on a Trump candidacy, it will be the best time for another Clyburn moment. And then this, from author James Clavell, from the Delacorte Press, June 1993. Never mind, gods play tricks on us, if there are gods. Gods or no gods, doesn't matter. That's what makes life what it is. Perhaps I will win, perhaps not. Karma. In this life, in the world of tears, you need a sense of humor, no? End quote. Ray says these are complicated times, reflected by the complex planetary arrangements currently underway. Jupiter and Uranus are within orb of conjunction in Taurus, and stock markets are rising. But Uranus just turned retrograde, and Jupiter will do the same on Monday. Together they make a wide, grand trine to Pluto in Capricorn and Mercury in Virgo. But both of them are also now retrograde. And Sunday, Monday is also the day that Venus turns direct and Mercury is at the midpoint of its retrograde cycle. A grand trine in earth signs is symbolic of wealth or the potential to earn it. But retrogrades can also indicate turning away from the opportunity to advance in a material sense and choose another path as a maverick. As investors look at the landscape of financial market opportunities today, they see a myriad of positives. But can they also see how things can turn terribly downward, too? Inflation is coming down, but is the downturn really going to last? Or is the quest, or greed, by companies to make greater profits through inflation going to bankrupt the common person? On a political level, most people in the U.S. want someone other than Trump or Biden to be the next president. But will the political parties allow anyone else to run as their candidates besides these two? It's complicated. Perhaps it's stupid. Perhaps it is evil. Perhaps we just need to see it as entertainment, to find humor in it, and have faith that it is all karma and part of a divine plan that will somehow work itself out. You may need a strong Neptune or Pisces placement in your chart to do that. In the immediate future, we note that Mars is now in Libra, usually a time for stock markets to rally. But after that, Mars ingresses into Scorpio from October 12th through November 24th. In Scorpio, Mars will be conjoined by the Sun on November 18th. Several years ago, I did a study on 10% or greater moves in the Dow Jones Industrial Average in an effort to find out which of the faster-moving transits are often most present. With an orb of 8 degrees, it was the Sun-Mars conjunction. This one will be especially pronounced because, during the 8-degree range, the Sun-Mars conjunction will also be in opposition to both Jupiter and Uranus in early November. These are all powerful level 1 signatures. The implication? The sharpest decline of the year in U.S. equity prices is likely into or immediately following this period. And it will be just in time for the pre-presidential election year trough that is also due from September through March preceding the U.S. presidential election. As you know, life is complicated, and the heavens are complex right now. But it is exciting, especially when you have the benefit of the oldest study known to humankind available to use as a reference, as a guide, to help you through these portals of uncertainty. If historical data indicates there is a higher than usual probability for a steep decline approaching, you can make a plan to buy when that happens. After all, one of the greatest gifts available to us as part of the same human race is the gift of being able to plan, even when Mercury and Uranus are turning retrograde. However, it is wise to know the difference between a plan and an expectation. Under Mercury and Uranus, you can plan, but be flexible and willing to make adjustments as needed to maximize the potential of the plan. This is an aspect that can usher in a series of sudden inspirations, but sometimes they come from sudden events that did not unfold quite as one expected. The plan is still good if you can use the turn as an opening for inspiration. And that's the end of this week's newsletter. Of course, this is not intended as financial advice. This is astrological observation. And you can check out the online version at MMAcycles.com for other announcements, including the link to the pre-sale of the Forecast 2024 book. And just on the spiritual side, I'll make note that I did a Subconscious Mind Mastery podcast that will release tomorrow on Sunday, talking about a little aha moment, an eye-opener in trading this week, not from a financial perspective, not from a market or astrological perspective, but from the subconscious perspective. All right, thanks for listening. Hope you have a wonderful long holiday in the United States. I'll be back on Monday as usual with our fun astrology kick off the week. Thanks so much. We'll see you on Monday.